Trump just did Rogan. Kamala just did Shay Shay. Right? And the reason why I bring that up, because it's showing that podcasts are like a formidable like source to get your information out, to have these long form conversations, to talk stuff like that. Rogan just said he turned down the conversation with Kamala because Kamala only had an hour to do it, and she wanted to do it at like her own place and stuff, and he felt like the best way to have a conversation would have been in his studio and kind of the way he wanted to do it, right? So I can't. It's Rogan. Like Rogan is bigger than Rogan is bigger than whoever think that he can accommodate them. Like he bigger than that. Like it's different when you're dealing with him because I think he's the biggest media source out there. Period. You know what I mean? So you kind of got to acquiesce to him. You ain't about the Debo Rogan. You know what I mean? So he ain't do it. He's like, I ain't doing it. You know what I mean? So. But I'm just thinking about that, you know, and I'm thinking about like our Navy people, you know, who could have got ahead of the curve a while ago, you know, our naval leadership. We got the vice president of the country doing a podcast with Shannon Sharp, a fucking ex-football player, right? Hall of Fame football player. I don't want to take nothing away from him. And then we got a former president, you know, doing a podcast with a comedian. And we talk about naval leadership, you know, like still not willing to do podcasts with other people in leadership positions in the Navy, or a lot more junior than, you know, whatever position they're in, but other people in the same organization as them. You know, like in my opinion, it's just me talking, you know, we got to do better. You know, it's a lot of new like conversation about the military, the DOD, about what people can and can't say on social media and stuff. I'm seeing those little things going around about don't say nothing negative or whatever like that. Yo, come to these podcasts, man. Have these conversations 2.5 hours, 3 hours, however long. Trump sat there with Rogan for 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know, and just got it off. Like people want to know who you are as a human. And that's what Rogan was saying about Kamala. Like, I want to know who she is, just a regular person. You know what I mean? Like, get it off. Like let's humanize ourselves. And in the process, let's talk about policy. Let's talk about what the plans are. We got to get out of this, like this old school, everything got to be in a nav admin phase. You know what I mean? Like, put it in a nav admin, but then let's come have...
Or a town hall meeting.
The town hall that we got a digital town hall. Come on one of these podcasts, man. Put your regular damn clothes on and let's talk. That's the way people are receiving this information nowadays, man. So I just wanted to... It'd be like, remember we was going to talk about, right? And I'm a name drop. For like a second real quick. Remember, we was going to have a conversation about ELD a couple years ago, and we wanted to talk to my man. He was like a dude I went through the season. I was in his mess. Now listen to this, Tish. We're going to talk about ELD, right? Which is something that I feel like needs to be talked about, right? Like ELD should be talked about, right? So we got my man lined up, and then he hit us up. Then this run, like, and it's funny, it's our anniversary. Thinking about this, he's like, "Yo, I can't do it. My CMC said I couldn't do it." You know? And here's a crazy thing. I'm almost sure if I hit up Toby, like, "Yo, Toby," and Toby, the guy up there, he the lead guy up. You know, the master chief of all that shit. If I hit Toby up, like, "Yo, Toby, can you come on the pod and talk about ELD?" He will come, and he'll come in however we want him to come. Like, it won't be like, no, I got to do this. I know this. Like, I could call him like, "Yo, like, let's talk ELD." My man, Master Chief, wouldn't let him talk about ELD on a podcast. Oh, have you heard those guys? Like, do you know? Like, yo, come on, man. If you come on, we're going to make you comfortable. We're not going to have the same conversation we would have if it's just us. Like, let's talk about ELD.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to have to go. You don't always want to have to go to Toby. Let's go to like the chief that's teaching it and have that conversation about ELD. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's like, so some CMC from somewhere told him, I wasn't a SEL at this time. I put a lot of sauce on that CMC, like what I just said. CMC, like I didn't put too much sauce on it. Yeah. So some CMC from somewhere said like, "Hey, you can't do it." To one of his chiefs, you can't have a conversation about it. I was so shocked when he told us. I'm like, "Yo, you can't talk to us about ELD like on the podcast,
right?
Like you can't." Meanwhile, like I said, and I'm gonna shut up. But we got Rogan and Kamala doing podcasts. Come on, Navy. And I can't say Navy all the time because it ain't the organization. It's people's choices. People would get up here and do a pod. And then we be having guests and the guests be coming back sometimes saying that, they got little shit for doing a pod. Like, yo, come on, y'all. Like, grow up.
Right. 100%. Right. Especially nowadays, it's like podcasts are all over the place.
Yeah, grow up.
Yeah.
They got podcasts about anything.
I'll let us, man. I'll let your peoples, man. And then, I mean, I'll tell you this, though. Is podcasts is out there, though. They out there now. You know what I mean? Like even for the Navy, the Navy, I've been seeing, on social media, a lot of podcasts, people got a platform
popping
and out
up,
there, talking about it now. So from that standpoint, I think it's becoming a bigger deal. But at the same time, man, like, relax.
Yeah.
Relax.
Right.
Ain't nobody out here trying to take your career from you, man.
Right.
Relax.
Like, I may say the wrong thing. Yeah. Yeah. I've actually, for my women's panel, there was someone who she really wanted to be on it. And her husband was like, no. He's like, it can, she was like, I was trying to reassure him that it'll be fine and I won't say anything. But he was just like very, very afraid that she may say something or somebody else may say something and it may shine a bad light on her. And so ultimately she didn't do it. But yeah, a lot of people just have their reservations about podcasts, about speaking freely about stuff. The same thing that they speak freely about, in the mess. So, I mean, just, and I know like there are some guests who we have had that have come on and they come on, they're nervous.
Yeah.
And they'll hit us, hey, what are we going to talk about? I'm nervous. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but they still get up here and they do it. And I respect them for that. Yeah,
living your truth. Like, and the thing is, you could always like request like, hey, let me hear it before you put it out. Let me, this, that. Like,
Right.
you don't have to like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then the thing about people is we so dynamic that like one clip, like I could go to like the Desmond Walker episode or the Bill Houlihan episode or even the latest episode with D-Guts. Like one clip could create some, issues people might have with you. Then the other clip, they get something else from you. We human. Like we got different things about us. I'm sure people don't agree with everything I say on here or any of us say. It's going to be things that people agree with, things that people don't. But we not like going to ask. I wouldn't bring up, like, for instance, like, let's say we had like the CNO on here. I just use the CNO again. I'm not about to try to trap the CNO to get investigated. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to try to. We bringing up shit that's on the news. Like when we talk about it, like, we got some topics coming up. All that shit is on the news already. Like, hey, like, what's the thoughts on this? What's the conversation on this? And then if we was talking to like a force master chief or like a fleet or something, it'd be more about like whatever they were a part of. Like, hey, let's talk about culture of excellence. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. It's nothing to be afraid of.
And then on top of it, we talking about it too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm not gonna put you in a predicament like to hurt myself. You know what I mean? Or whatever the case may be. Like, we having the same conversation. If you couldn't talk about it, we wouldn't be talking about it. That's kind of how I figure I look at it, man. So
yeah.
And I feel like none of us are even that type of person in our own personal lives. So anyone who even knows us personally know that that's not even the type of people that we are.
No, I mean, I'm a radical. I'm radical. I got the dashiki at the crib. I'm radical. It's like, no, I'm just joking. I got radical on reserve. Radical on reserve, man.
In the news.
When it come to hip hop lyrics, that's when he go radical.
Yeah. I'm just joking, y'all.
Spazzing out about Nas.